Okay, let's take a look at my Wink app and just see what I have going on here. So, first of all, I'll start by saying that one of the things I hate the most about this is these offline lights. It's good that it shows me when things are offline, but some things are intentionally offline. Like a lot of these devices are smart plugs that I have set up from iHome, and I use them for Christmas lights. I don't have a need for them outside of the Christmas season, and I don't use them for anything except Christmas lights. When the Christmas lights come down, they come down. I don't like re-adding them in every time I put the Christmas lights out. Even though it's only once a year, it's a pain. I'd rather just have them available. I have them labeled for each light strand, and I use them that way. But if I delete them, I have to re-add them in. It's a bit of work. I don't want to do it. I just want to plug them in and use them. The other thing here, you'll see I've got loads of entities, probably about 25 different entities here that are my lights and switches. If I want to find the lamp in my bedroom, for instance, I have to scroll through. If I'm lucky, I'll pick it up the first time. Probably won't be lucky, and I'll have to go through it again. Right, like that time, I don't see it here. It's just too difficult to find things. There's not enough labels. If we click here, we can see that, there's some labels, but not a lot of labels, so it's just a pain. So that's the first problem, is that there's just not a good order to these. If I wanted to unlock my door, I can see here that my mudroom door is locked. If I want to lock it, I just slide it over, but to get to it, it's just not logical. So while I like how easy it is to use my Wink hub and hook up the limited devices that it supports, it's just a pain to have to use this app. I've been holding out for years for a new app, and they just are not releasing one. So what I want to do next is show you what it's like to use all of those same entities, but within Home Assistant. Okay, let's look at the alternative that I found. Here's the Home Assistant app, and I've built it out for myself. I have this fancy home screen, and this clearly has more integrations than just Wink, and I can go through that, and we will over time, but just a much quicker way to do things. I mentioned that bedroom light, so the bedroom is up on the second floor, and I can just jump right to my bedroom and turn my light on. Unavailable lights or switches show up simply as unavailable for that room, and if I want to take it off, I can, and then it shows up in this fancy unused entities screen. So this is the stuff that's unused, and I'm sure we will find some lights that are not used. They're here. I'm not going to bother looking for them. I can assure you that lights that are not used show up here. There's also some awesome things that I've done with persistence or presence, and essentially I'm able to trigger things based on people being at home or not. You can see I can just jump around. I've got Sonos integrated in the app. I've got everything organized by room. So to show you another way that I was looking at doing this, I could do it based on the first floor, second floor of the house. So this is looking at a first floor view, things that are universal for the whole first floor. I can jump over to the kitchen, turn anything on that I want turned on there. You can see when I flip the switch, the app goes yellow, or the icon goes yellow to show that it's on. Actually, let's go back. That is a Wink light. I'm able to choose a color if I want to. And we'll see that light go blue, or we should, but I'm not going to wait for that. Anyway, I've got it organized here by room if I want to do it that way, but generally I just log in and I've got it organized by floor. So the home screen, first floor, which is a bunch of rooms on the first floor, second floor, basement, outside, and then I'll show you some other awesome stuff later. I've got things, a screen that shows me who's home and who's where, and then I've got my standard ADT alarm integrated in. So we'll get into all of this over time, but let's start just showing you pulling in that Wink data. Okay, so this is the screen you get when you log into Home Assistant for the first time. So I've never logged into this instance before, and we're starting from scratch essentially. So I've just created, a user account, and when I log in, you can see there's already some stuff that it found on my network. The Home Assistant software will actually scan your network and look for compatible devices, and it's already found and added some remote controls for a Harmony hub that I have. So it's a family room, basement, and this is a master bedroom. Now if we just go over here in the upper right, there's these 3 dots. We can go and see what's unused, and I see that it's just got some generic things that are here all the time. And then we've got this configurator, which noted that it found a Wink hub on my network, which is perfect. It's exactly what we want. So I'm going to go in here to notifications and just see what it says. So I just got a standard welcome message. It found some other devices, and it found our Wink. We'll take a look at this real quick. The other devices it found a Philips Hue hub, which I actually have connected through my Wink, so I am never going to configure that. Found some Sonos devices, and this, I believe, is a network health thing. It looks for network information. I'm not really sure. We can just ignore that. And then there are other things that we can set up in the future, but let's just focus on our Wink configuration. So this is the configurator tool, and we're going to just go ahead and set up Wink. So step 1 is to create a developer account at this developer.wink.com. Very straightforward. You just log in essentially with a Google ID, or you just log in with a Google ID and you're all set. And then you're going to create an application. This is what that interface looks like. You can create applications for Wink. So what I'm going to do is create a new application. So it says just go here, add a URI redirect of this. I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to request a new application. So if we click new, we can name it anything you want. Let's just name it demo Wink config, and then I can do it any URL or website I want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't use it. So I'm just putting, it does have to be a valid URL though. And then that redirect URI goes here exactly as it's copied up here. And you have to make sure you miss that period. That period is not something you want to use. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I can check this box to agree to the terms and conditions, which no idea what those terms and conditions are. And I'm going to hit save. Hopefully we'll get some goodness back. Nope. So what I've found is this app thing is very finicky. If I hit save again, didn't change anything, it just took it. So this is what I created. And then these essentially need to be approved. And once it's approved, it will have these OAuth, client ID, and client secret. I've seen it come back very quickly, and sometimes it takes a while. I have this one set up as well with the same information, so we can use this client ID and secret. So it has that same URI without the period. If you have any issues in this step, always come back and see how you set this up. But you're going to need a client ID once the application is approved. I'm going to copy that, and that goes right here. And then it's asking for my client secret, which is right here. I'm going to paste that in. That is it. So again, when they copy this, sometimes I grab that period by accident, but just make sure you don't grab that. So go ahead and hit submit, and this does not go away, but you're going to need to click it again and the next step will come up. So that's essentially, we need to authorize Wink to use this app. So I right click it and hit open in new tab. And essentially all I have to do now is type in my Wink credentials, what I use to log into the Wink app. Click sign in. I'm not going to save that. Let's see. So it's been authorized, and close the window now. Best results, reboot Home Assistant. So let's just close this. We can look here. Hide these. Let's just for fun look at this. Again, I get varying levels of effectiveness from this website. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it isn't. But look, this is the app we created before, and the client ID and secret are already approved. But let's do this. Let's just get out of here. Go back here. I'm going to exit out of that. And essentially, we should have all of our devices, and typically they show up under unused entities. So that is it. They are all here. I have my switches, sensors. I have Winks and Wink relay devices around the house. I have what they call lights, which is just a polar on-off versus, or I'm sorry, a light is has varying degrees or levels, whereas these switches are just on-off. So for instance, the lights in my garage, I don't need to be able to dim them. They're just on-off, so I paid less for that switch. I have some iHome outlets that are here. This Ben's Rock is one of those, but it's just on-off. So you see, we get things, even locks that are coming through. All of this stuff is connected through my Wink, including some Hue devices. And that's it. So that's awesome. So that is step one, getting connected. Now what we'll do is we will just go over and create a better user interface. So a couple things here. First of all, I don't really want these remotes to show up. When we looked at our Wink app, all of the lights and switches and everything are just sort of jumbled together. You can organize by grouping, so not that different than this. So all the fans are grouped together, the lights are grouped together, the switches are grouped together, the locks are grouped together. Everything's just jumbled in one terrible interface with the Wink app. The goal here is to give us a better app. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at, we're going to configure this interface. So for me personally, I don't like these things at the top. Actually, let's do this. Let's refresh. Sometimes all those Wink entities, yeah, so that's exactly what I thought would happen. You see everything comes into this default view, and personally I don't like it. But you may want to have some of these things here for yourself. That's up to you. I'm going to show you how to get rid of them. And what I like to do is start with nothing. So I'm going to first delete all of these badges, and then I'll show you how to delete these. These are called cards, and I'll show you how to delete those. So let's first go into configure user interface, or configure UI. And it just tells you that if you start to mess with this, it won't auto-populate to the default view here, which is fine. I don't want that anyway. So let's take control and organize this some. So again, let's start by deleting all of these badges. The way you do that is you go up here again to the three dots, and you go to the raw configuration editor, and you see things are divided into badges and then cards. So what I want to do is I'm going to delete all of my badges, but you've got to leave that there, and then I'm going to delete all of these cards, but you have to leave these definitions there. I'm going to save this and go back. Now you see everything is gone. If we go to unused entities, everything is back there, except for the badges. Those badges are gone, which I'm fine with. So let's go back to overview. And so the way I'm going to set this up is I'm going to have a home screen that I'm able to log into, and I'll be able to choose what floor I want to see in my home for the devices on that floor, and then I'll configure it by a card for each room. So you'll see what I mean. So let's start by creating a couple different tabs here for the different floors in my house. So we're going to do first and second floor, and then my basement. So let's see the first floor. You'll see there's a lot of uniformity here. So this URL path is the path a browser or the app uses. It's important because when you do navigation buttons, you want to have a word here instead of the numbers that normally come up. So I'm going to custom name first floor first, and then I'm going to do the same thing for second floor, and my basement. I can see I misspelled that. And my last, I'm going to do some outside lights. So in Home Assistant, there's the other thing you probably noticed is this icon, and I'm going to explain that right now. So this will be my home view. So there you go. So I've got 4 floors and a sort of a home view. Now what I would recommend is using this Home Assistant, if I can spell it. Website has very good documentation. So if you click on Docs and we go to Lovelace User Interface, it tells you all about the different cards you can use and how great you can get it looking. So what we're going to use here to navigate between screens is an entity button. So let's just start with first floor. That is not good. So we want a button that's going to take us to the first floor tab. I don't need to show the name. My action that I'd like is to navigate. If the hold action, I don't want one. And this is going to take me to first, which is that navigation path I added to the tab. That didn't work at all. So the thing here you need, my mess up, is I need to put an entity. So an entity is any light, switch, whatever that this card or entity button will control. For me, I'm using it for navigation, but you still need to add something to it. So I'm just going to grab a light on the first floor and use it that way. So if I click this now, it will take me to the first floor tab, which is great. That's exactly what I wanted. This icon is not what I want. So there's a website called Material Design Icons, and these are you're able to interface with directly through Home Assistant. So I'm going to find some icons for our first floor. We'll use this Home Assistant icon. Essentially, you choose the one you want. I want this one, and you copy this type exactly the way they have it. And then let's go back to Configure UI, and we're going to click Edit, and we're going to change this icon to, you have to type MDI semicolon, and it changes the icon. That's awesome. And I can use that same icon here on the tab by clicking this pencil, doing MDI Home Assistant. And why don't I just go ahead and do that for each floor? And actually this home button is not really what I want. So I want for the home tab, but that button doesn't take me to home, it takes me to my first floor. So let's just type first and see what we get. So there we go, a little house with a number 1 in it, home floor 1. It actually happens that these icons exist for second floor as well, so I can type second. There's one for the basement, and then outside. Let's see what that looks like. So there's nothing, I don't really see a good one for outside, so I'm just going to do a tree, because trees are obviously outside. And there's tree or tree outline. So let's go back here, let's fix this icon. We're going to do home floor 1, navigate to first. And let's add another navigation button, entity button. It's for the second floor, so I'm going to use the light next to my bed. And then the name doesn't matter. We're going to use the icon, same icon, but we'll use for the second floor. I'm not going to show the name. I'm going to make this a navigation button. And we're going to go to the second floor. So that's it. So I've got 2 navigation buttons. One takes me to first. One takes me to the second floor. So on each floor, the first button I want is another one of those navigation buttons to bring me back. So let's go entity button. And so this is for the first floor. We're going to use that same lamp. Doesn't matter. Take this off. This is a navigation button. None. This is going to take me back to the home screen. And then for icon, let's make this an undo arrow to take me back. So the other thing I can do here is I'm going to hit edit. If you click toggle editor, it's a more scripty type of input that you get. So you can create this using just the configuration parameters, and it's called a YAML editor. But I'm just going to copy all of that, and I'm going to go in here and just create some manual cards, delete this type, and just paste that in. And I'm going to keep getting, let's see, home. So I have a feeling that this did not carry over properly. It did not. Second floor. So I think the goal for this is to make it so it is not a science project. So I think we want those first floor, second floor icons, but for now let's do this. Home. Keep clicking the wrong thing there, so sorry about that. So let's do a manual card and paste that information in, and we're going to make this home. Let's close it. Let's see that everything works. First floor, second floor. We didn't add basement or outside, and I'm going to explain why now. So these are big. If you imagine this in a mobile app, it is going to look like this, and I'll have to scroll. What would be more ideal is to have a card, one of these cards with 2 things on it. So there is a card, it's called a horizontal stack card. It's right here. So essentially this takes 2 cards and puts it into one. So what I always do is I just copy the example, and I go back here, and I'm going to configure my UI. I'm going to add this horizontal. I mean, you can add a horizontal stack. It doesn't give you much. Or you can do a manual card and just copy that text in that you had. It's nice to see it's just 2 entities. So what I'm going to do first is go in here to toggle editor and just copy this text. And go back into this one and paste it in. So I'm going to add a whole bunch of lines, paste this in the bottom. I want to get rid of these, so I'm going to leave type. Actually, we don't have to do that. What we're going to do is, this is one card here. Let's see what we can do, if we can make this magical. So the problem is the formatting. It's not formatted properly. See, it wants things lined up the same. Some of these things we can delete. We'll probably clean it up more. Let's get rid of this. So we don't need a name. We don't have to have this. We can put some of this stuff back later, but what we can also do, I think, is comment it out, but I'm just going to start deleting stuff. Get rid of the hold action. I've got 2 types in here. We don't need that, so there we go. We're golden. So, navigation path going first. All looks good. I'm going to hit save. Let's see, now if I click that, it's bringing me to the right place. It doesn't look any different yet, but here's the difference. I'm actually going to copy this. And now you see I've got 2 of them. I'm just going to make this go to the second floor, and I'm going to change this icon to 2. And there we go. Now, instead of having these 2 big buttons, we've got 1 small one. So what I'm going to do is delete this and delete this. Now you see when we have a mobile app, that's going to look a lot nicer. Okay, so it's not much really. Right now we just have navigation between this home field and these different floors. So in this home area, what I'd like to do also is add my locks. So there's not a specific card for locks. I'm going to use all of these entity cards in the beginning here. I'm just call this door locks. And this toggle header is how you can turn something on or off, everything on that card all at once. So I'm going to get rid of that because we can't do that with locks anyway. And I'm just going to add my lock for the front door and a lock for my mudroom door. And there we go. So now we've got that. So while I'm here, why don't I just add 1 more of these horizontal stack. I'm just going to copy all this text, do another manual card, and I'm going to do one of these for the outside, which is a tree, and I'm going to make this go outside. Here is floor basement, and I'm going to make this go to basement. And that's it. So there you go. So now I've got, on the way actually, I've got my first tab set up where you can choose which floor you want to look at, and then you can even lock the doors in the house. You can see they're both unlocked now. We'll leave them that way for now. And then I can click 1. And now I can decide what I want to do with my first floor. So why don't we just start adding some rooms. I'm going to use this same entity card. And let's add our kitchen. Spell it properly though. And really all we need to do is start adding some lights. So we've got some counter lights, some sink lights. And again, these are all connected through my Wink hub. I have table lights in there, and then I've got something, I have like a call it the kitchen bar. It's just a small table or a small cabinet. So that's it. So there's a kitchen. You can keep doing this for each room. If I just go through here, for our family room, you see we have lights, fans, switches, everything shows up. I can even add this remote if I want to. I'm just going to do the family room. I'm going to do a hue bloom that I have behind my television. I'm going to do another, this is another hue light that we call Knuckle Buster, and I'm going to do the family room fan. So that's it for now, and we're filling up here, but let's just keep going. I've got my dining room. Let's go living room actually. So living room lamp, 2, floor lamp. So we've had some power outages today. I'm not sure why these aren't showing up, but I'm just going to leave it like that. This is a big annoyance for me. I don't know. I think it's living room. We have a dining room. The dining room has one light. So we're going to take this header off the top. We're just going to add the one light that's in the dining room. And then we have an office. That's annoying. It's not showing up either, that PC desk light. Actually, no, I want to put this other desk first. So that's the whole first floor. It's much more organized than that original link app we were looking at. Organized by room. I'll get rid of this if it gets a little smaller. Some of these unavailable devices will definitely come back. It's because we were losing power a couple times today. So that's it. So I'm going to go through here and configure the rest of my devices. Alright, so one last thing I want to do here is go back to home. I'm just going to grab this, these icon words, and I'm going to fix these icons. So here we go, since we've added a word, we just are going to use the icon. I don't know why I did that, second floor. There we go, so now if we look at this, as a mobile app, this is what it would look like. So front. I'll show you some other things we can add to this over time, but we'll add a security system to this. We'll add a status that shows everything that's on. We can add I'm going to add a garage doors and a Ring doorbell and my Nest thermostats. So there's a lot of things we can add to this, and we will do that over time. There's other ways we can tweak the way this looks, but it is a world better than the way this is organized. We're not organized together, but I can change these if I wanted to. So go back to material design, we can do see if there's an icon for a lamp. There it is, so it's just called lamp, easy enough. So with a lot of these, we can go in and actually go back to configure, UI, start the kitchen here. So this kitchen bar light is an icon, so I can actually just click toggle editor, and underneath the bar light, I can say icon, MDI, lamp, and change it to a lamp instead. I don't know if that's important or not, but all of those are customizable. There's just a lot of customization you can do. So there we go. So that is start to finish connecting your Wink devices to Home Assistant and creating a much, much better user interface. So I appreciate it. We'll have some follow-up videos to show you how to further customize this and connect additional objects. So I'm going to click stop and have a great day, everybody. There we go. So now if we look at this as a mobile app, this is what it would look like. So our front, and I'll show you some other things we can add to this over time, but we'll add a security system to this. We'll add a status that shows everything that's on. We can add our garage. I'm going to add my garage doors, Ring doorbell, and my Nest thermostats. So there's a lot of things we can add to this, and we will do that over time. There's other ways we can tweak the way this looks, but it is a world better than the way this was organized within my Wink app, or not organized, as I like to say. But I can change these if I wanted to. So if we go back to material design, we could see if there's an icon for a lamp. And there is, so it's just called lamp, easy enough. So with a lot of these, we can go in and actually go back to configure, UI. If we just start with the kitchen here. So this kitchen bar light is an icon. So I can actually just click toggle editor, and underneath the bar light I can say icon MDI lamp, and it changes it to a little lamp instead. I don't know if that's important or not, but all of those are customizable. There's just a lot of customization you can do. So there we go. So that is start to finish connecting your Wink devices to Home Assistant and creating a much, much better user interface. So I appreciate it. We will have some follow-up videos to show you how to further customize this and connect additional objects. So I'm going to click stop, and have a great day, everybody.